I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the Welcome to the 3 on 3 podcast. That's right. You are tuned into the number one basketball podcast in the universe. I'm joined with my guys, my compadres, my amigo. Got my boy Evan over here. I got my boy, Lou. Where's where's Lou? Oh
Missing the
man.
box.
We're down a player. See, we got injuries. Okay. We got injuries. Lou's not feeling well under the weather, so get better, brother. We'll see you on the next episode. But we do have the pod mom in the background who's here making sure that we continue to be the number one basketball podcast in the universe. So we have a great show in store. It is postseason, end of season time here. Games are wrapping up. We have the final games of the season, which will determine seeding for some, and some is just maybe a warm up or, a notch to get closer to your draft pick. We'll be discussing it all today. So we'll be going down. But first and foremost, we got to get into this 65 game rule because it's really impacting this season. And I think that the NBA is going to have to do something one way or another just because it's been such a hot button topic this season. And you've had so many notable players actually miss that 65 threshold, and it's sparking a lot of debate. So let's jump right into that with my boy Ev. So I know we have notable players like Luca, who's missed it, and I know there. Last I read, he was appealing it, right, because the birth of his child in another
Yep.
country. So he's trying to get that exempt. You have Cade, who suffered a collapsed lung towards the end of the season and ended up missing it because of that. And then, you have people like LeBron who won't do it, Steph Curry, of the likes. So it really brings into question, what are we doing here? Do we really need to reconsider the 65 game rule? And then you have players who came close, right? You have Wemby, you have Shea, who was out sometimes. He came close. Joker, who came close. So there's really a lot of players who are coming up close to it. So my first question thrown out here to you, Ev, as we discuss this back and forth. Given that it's been such a hot button topic, should the NBA look into doing something different, or is this exactly what the NBA wanted?
I think it's fascinating that we have so many players that are close to the mark, right? And you have players that are just on the other side of it. So, for example, right before we came on, we were having a debate for a few minutes on where Wemby was at because
Hmm.
everything we see, ESPN.com, basketball reference, etc., shows him at 64 games. Yet they say he met 65 games on Friday night. They
Right.
counted the NBA Cup championship game, right?
Hmm.
So we had a situation where it even came down to a game that stats didn't count to get a prominent player across the threshold, right? So when you have so many players clumped up right at that line, on one hand, it feels like, okay, maybe that is the right number because that seems to be where players get about close to. But
Right.
on the other hand, it's like, okay, what are we really trying to get after here? Are we trying to disqualify players from winning awards? I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the spirit of the award. So when you look at it
Mhm.
from that standpoint, and the fact that we have so many players who I would say had legitimate situations, but have fallen just before the line, it may just below the line, it makes you think maybe the line that they have set is a little too punitive. If you dropped it down to 60, right? Ant would have made it. I think K would have made it. Luca wouldn't need an exemption to make it. Jokic wouldn't have to play, the last night of the season to make it, although he should be playing. So I mean, there's a number of players that wouldn't be in a perilous situation as it comes to an award standpoint. So maybe the number is slightly too high, but I can see both sides of the argument. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think the NBA should be doing something about it. There's something to be said about the spirit of the rule versus the execution of it. And I think the execution is a little off. When you have players who've really put in the work throughout season and have elevated their game to make themselves eligible for a award, I think we should be allowing them to get those achievements because they've put in the work. And 9 times out of 10, if we're being honest, if you're eligible for award, it's not because you were sitting out. It's because you've been putting in the work, you've been playing most of your games, right? And you've been knocking it out the park. I don't know if it's as simple as to say, well, the loophole or the exception to the 65 game rule is if you're award eligible, if you're ranking on there, then you're exempt from it. Or like you said, do we put it down 5 games and make it 60 so we can kind of really recalibrate and see? I i, I don't know, but I do think we do need to revisit the execution of this rule because Cade deserves something, some accomplishment, right? Or at least the note of him being in the ranking. Same thing with Luka. As much as I'm a Laker hater and we bash on him, he had an MVP like year, right? So he should have the opportunity to win it and not just be automatically just exempt from that. So it definitely, I think, is something that the NBA needs to look into. I just don't know what they're gonna do. I really don't, and I don't know what the driving force would be to make that change, right? Does the players union drive that? Do they bring that to the NBA and the reps hash it out, or is that all on the NBA's kind of side? I'm not sure.
I think both sides had to agree because it does affect contracts. It impacts, if you're how much your max can be, how much your super max can be. So I mean, it's definitely impacting players' pockets, right? When you become ineligible for an all NBA, when being eligible for one allows you for more money. So I think the Players Association is definitely going to have some some thoughts about how this has been deployed. You said something that made me think, though, right? When you think about different ways that can be doing it, um, I wonder if there was a way, like Luca's a prime example, on his own basketball merit, what he's done this year. Definitely, he should be, a first team All NBA player, right? Now that's based on votes. I wonder if based on the number of games below a certain mark, right? They could detract some of your votes, maybe. So where,
Oh,
okay, off of votes, he'd be first team, right? But because he didn't meet, X number of games, they subtract X number of votes, and now he falls to like second or third team if that number of votes was the penalty. Maybe if they had a sliding scale like that, right? You'd have, okay, you're impacted by what your merit alone got you voted at, but it's not necessarily an all or none. We'd probably see a case in something like that where like Cade, right, may fall down to third team since he'd be battling Luca and SGA probably for first team anyway, right? So he
right.
might fall from like second to third team, or he might be in the mix with some other players at risk of missing all NBA because of the games he ended up having to miss. But he wouldn't automatically, you're not qualified for anything just because you missed games, especially when you got hurt at the end of the season when you've been crushing it all year.
Facts. Facts.
I feel like the 65 game rule could be tweaked on the NBA level because I feel like there's more nuance to it because you look at Wemby, for example. If you depending on who you follow or who you read, he hit the 65 game mark last night. So I mean, who knows if it was 65 games, 64 games? Who knows? I don't. Evan and I both know because we both look at Basketball Reference and ESPN app and it says 64 games. But anyways, he's played less minutes than a lot of players who are not eligible. So should there be a minute thing where like even though you didn't get the 65 game mark, but you played more minutes, like you played 35 minutes a game for I don't know, 58 games. Like, should there be an exempt, or should the NBA just screw it? Let's just make it 50 games, because let's be real, 17 games is not. You can only miss 17 games. You're one bad injury away, an ankle turn away from missing eligibility. Like, I just don't think 65 games is enough. Like, it needs to be tweaked. What do you guys think?
Um, I definitely think it needs to be tweaked. I'm not sure with the minutes, just because I know the spirit of the rule was made so players can be present in more games, especially when you have markets who fell left out, like your small markets. The fans feel jaded because, hey, such and such is sitting out because they don't want to, they don't want to play in, I don't know, Milwaukee or, you know, a small market. So I think the spirit of that was to have players present in more games. But there is something to say though about the amount of minutes plays. Maybe it should play a factor, but I don't
It's
know if that should be a deciding factor just because the spirit was made so players could be present in more games so fans
it's
don't get
just
slighted.
it's weird because they did it because of people sitting their players, and they wanted teams to play their players so fans can have a better experience. There's a lot of players who did load management. The Spurs, Greg Popovich started it. The Clippers do it with Kawhi, and so on and so on. But with today's NBA, the way that it's spaced out, you've seen more injuries occur now than ever before, because a lot of players have to explode in order to contest a shot or what have you. So there's a lot of soft tissue injuries. So it just doesn't make sense for it to be 65 games, because you're gonna have you have so many injuries that are happening right now that players can't even hit the 65 game mark even if they wanted to.
No, I agree. I think maybe factor in the, I don't know, the mean, the average of injuries that happen and time to come back for that and lower it. I agree with you on that because, like you said, you're what, a grade two ankle sprain away from really not being eligible, even though you,
Really,
let's say it happens
you're a
early in the
hamstring
season.
away.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I do think that needs to be taken into consideration. Some change needs to happen. I'm curious to see what route they go, but I definitely think the threshold needs to change. Essentially, where I think we're going to see complaints from high performing players who feel like they're not being rewarded for having a great season just because they missed a game or two. So I would love to see some changes on
It's
that.
what you need. Just like everybody loves the college football playoff committee and the arbitrary nebulous way that they pick who's going to the college football playoff. We just need a committee. We need a committee that picks who's going to end up being eligible for the end of season awards. And then we get reasons that, are inconsistent year to year, and it gives us more content.
Facts. I will say one thing about this though. Another podcast brought a great point in that with this 65 game rule, it may skew the money in the NBA because if somebody who's eligible for award gets knocked out, somebody else can come in, right? So I've brought in first and second team. So if I get knocked out because of games I've missed and somebody else qualifies, now a player who's not as good gets a bump and could possibly get a bigger contract, which normally he would not get. So does it skew the money on that end as well too? So now are you essentially playing players of lesser skill more money than you would because of this arbitrary rule?
It
So
definitely
I think
affected
that's
Giannis's money because he needed to meet a number of games in order to get that Nike bonus
yeah,
that he was supposed to get.
facts. 100%. He's not
That's
getting
why.
that Nike
That's
money.
why.
Going,
That's why he been mad with the Bucks
yeah,
out
that's
here.
why he's been
They
wanting to
messing
play.
with his money.
But
Yeah.
you know what could help with injuries, at least from what I've heard in another show, and I thought it made a lot of sense, is why don't we just have less preseason games and just start the season early so that we don't have to have these back-to-backs? It's ridiculous.
So less preseason, but start early.
Lakers get like 6 preseason games. Like, let's just have 2 preseason games, start on October like 15th or whatever, it's October 10th, and just play throughout the season with no back to backs.
No back to backs. Okay. I wonder how that would look with the schedule.
Because that's a lot of the reason why teams load manage is because of back to backs. It always happens on a back to back.
Second night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have that's not a bad idea. You have that. You have, they've gone to more of these baseball like series where you have a team in a town, when they play 2 games in a row. Maybe you could lean at more of those. I think those are all recommendations kind of around the edges, right? That would make incremental process. But I think what you said earlier, Christian, is the big thing. Just the way basketball is played now. I mean, it's the most athletic it's ever been. It's the most consistently back and forth it's ever been, at least since like the '60s, right? Or the '70s when they had that initial explosion in pace. It's
80s.
even more so now.
80s.
Yes,
Showtime.
yeah, '80s. So chill out.
This guy, man.
No, these
So
are
I think-
facts. I mean, these are facts. I don't
Yeah, they're always facts when it's the Lakers. Yeah, go ahead.
Right,
man.
I'll leave it at that. You did good when you said that Wemby has played less than a lot of players who are ineligible. I was proud of you. I knew who you were talking about there. Good job.
That is true. You restrained yourself.
LeBron
You
James.
understand You're doing good. We're off to a good start.
All right, fellas. So let's move on. I think we're all in agreement that something needs to be changed. We'll see what happens in the offseason, what the NBA comes up with, but we got to do something different. We're getting away from the spirit of the rule in its execution. All right, let's start off with the East Coast and get into these teams, their playoffs, where they stand, what they need to do to move forward, what's happening, and I think we'll just go top down on the East Coast. How you feel about that, Ev? 1
Hey,
through
let's
10.
do it. Let's
Bet.
do it.
So we got the Detroit Pistons, who, as we record right now, are 59-22, and they are number one. I don't think there's much that really needs to be said about them. They got that locked in, and I think they're really just trying to figure out and wait to see what their opponent is on the bottom of it. But I will say this, with K going down and having that, and they actually treaded water without him, is Detroit looking less formidable to you right now, or do you still see them making noise in this playoffs?
So I think they got him back in time, and more importantly, they played well without him. Right? They didn't give up any ground in the East when Cade was hurt. I think he missed 11 games. You see the improval of Dennis Jenkins. You see the steadiness of Jalen Duren, even with Cade being out, right? So I think, in a way, this past month and Cade's injury has been a blessing in disguise for Detroit, because despite how great they were during the season, they were very Cade-centric at times. And you saw that pop up against the best teams that they played. When they struggled, when they struggled, and a lot of times it was because teams were able to figure out Cade in the fourth quarter. So this stretch was good for them. The fact that they went basically wire to wire in the East, or at least from the second week of the season, it bodes well for them. It's a team that's clearly on a mission, that clearly is not satisfied with showing up last year, established their identity, grew their identity as the season progressed. And I think that they're well postured in the East. The thing we're all waiting for, most importantly, is who they're playing in the first round, because I think we all have our eyes set on one matchup that would be juicy. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I'm super curious to see how they do. Kind of like you said, I think a couple episodes, they're still one of the teams that they're playing well, but we still are looking for them to prove it in the off season, right? We're looking for them to show us that when it matters, when games matter the most, can you come through? Can you push through? Can you win a series? And can you take your team to the next level? I am surprised that they have been consistently number one all season. That was not on my bingo card. I definitely thought it was going to be a jockeying of, Knicks and whoever else came up between underneath the Knicks. So Knicks, Celtics, even Cleveland really, because we didn't think the
Cleveland.
Celtics were going to be as good as they turned out to be.
Yeah,
So
Knicks and Cleveland were. I mean, we assumed it would be Knicks and Cleveland this year.
mhm,
So
100%. So I'm really, really shocked that they've been this solid all year long. They haven't had the ups and downs that other teams have had in their conference. And I'm I'll say this. I don't think they're gonna win it all, but I will say this. They there's nothing stopping them for me. Like I don't see a definitive team that I could say, oh, definitely going to beat them four straight. I think when it gets to it, it's going to be a close series. They're going to be a hard out. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see the matchups. But to talk about what you tease, that eighth seed matchup that we want to see between, are you thinking Charlotte? Is that what you're thinking? Or are you
I
thinking
absolutely
Philly?
am. No,
Okay.
I absolutely am thinking Charlotte. Now, Philly's an interesting team. Potentially, we'll get to them in a minute. But when you look at Charlotte, a team. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not picking Charlotte to win a series against Detroit. Truth be told, Charlotte locked into a 9-10 game against the Miami Heat. I'm I'm not definitive there, right? But Charlotte has been one of the better teams in the second half of the season. We saw the beef that they had with Detroit when they got to scrambling on the court. So a series again with the new bad boys against a team that wants smoke with the bad boys that has nothing to lose. That'd be fun for a first rounder.
D Wade needs to get a gift basket from the Charlotte Hornets. He needs to get a check, a gift basket, or something
Put a
because
battery in the back.
he did, man. He said the AAU team, and they looked and said, "Oh, okay, say less." They're exciting. I'm sorry, man. I'm calling them the YN team, man. They the YN team that we want to watch, man. They wear Pooh Shiesty masks before when they walking into the arena. They're
Is there something to be said that the Hornets have become pretty above average after Michael Jordan sold the team?
Oh
wow.
no, you can definitively tie a line towards that. I think okay, if we're gonna talk this Jordan piece for a minute, I'll talk it. Uh, Jordan was never a good owner because Jordan was never going to be capable of being a good owner in the NBA because as not only the GOAT, but as a notoriously legendarily competitive person and player on the court, he was never going to have the patience to which develop a team,
That's a fact.
grow a team.
Mhm.
And so, and he wasn't ever going to be able to put leadership, so to speak, around him that would allow the type of patience and nurturing that would grow a team. So Jordan was, I mean, we saw this from his days in the Wizards. Like
Wizards. Yep.
he was
100%.
not, he was never going to be that person as an owner. Now, what's crazy is if you pay attention to other sports, how successful he's doing in NASCAR right
NASCAR.
now,
He's knocking it out the park.
because listen, he put a great driver in charge. I think he knew. Wow, we talking NASCAR talk for a second. Uh,
That's why
he
we're the
put a Hall
greatest
of Fame
podcast.
level driver in charge. He knew. Okay, I don't know enough about this sport to tell you what to do, but I know to bring in excellent people and let them do what to do. Right? He could do that in NASCAR, but in basketball, Who gonna tell
He's the
Michael
expert.
Jordan? I'm the expert. Who gonna
I'm
tell
the
Michael
GOAT.
Jordan what to do? Right.
Speaking
So
of NASCAR demographic, were the Hornets really one Knipple away from being a good team?
that's funny. That's funny. So back to that point. I think Charlotte has drafted strongly in the past 5 years, and they've made some good moves from a free agent standpoint the past 5 years.
They're healthy
They
now too.
they're healthy now.
They're
They
healthy.
needed to do some growing up, and they've got a good coach.
Yeah.
Charles Lee comes from a good tree, and I think if you want to give, I'm not going to give Duke any credit here. I'm not going to do that.
Oh wow.
Um,
Wow.
hey, I'm not going to do that. After all, you get so many good players, so many lottery players, right? In a row. At some point, they got to click, and I think that's just what's happened.
Um, Kind of, but I guess what I'm saying is we've seen other franchises who get good players in a row and they f it up still. So I think it's a combination of things like you're saying, good coaching and injuries. I think they finally have them all healthy at the same time, and there has been some times for some of them to mature a little bit, but not too much because they wouldn't be fun to watch if they were too mature. And it's clicking and they're cool to watch. What I find interesting with Charlotte is, are they going to, like, what's the next leap for them? Like, we're excited about Knipple, right? He's actually going to be rookie of the year, or is rated above, actually, from the last ranking, above Flag. So it's going to be a tight race, but he's rated slightly above Cooper Flag at this point. So I'm interested to see what the next step is for them. I think they'll make some noise. They may challenge Detroit and push them to 6, but there's still some work to be done there. So I'm interested to see what Charlotte does. But let's move on to another team in the East, fellas. While we're going there, let's work our way back up the list real quick. We talked about the 76ers. Oh, Joel Embiid, right? He's injured. He has to have appendicitis. So he had to have his appendix removed. Hey, man, what's going on with the Sixers? What do you think's going to happen, man, with them? Are they going to make any type of run? We know Paul George is back. We got Maxey, got Edgecombe. What's going to happen with the Sixers this offseason, Ev?
Well, I think we know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, right? They're not going to be healthy enough and consistent enough to get out of the first round. Now, most likely, and we're recording this on Saturday before all the games on Sunday. So we're taking some liberties here with our assumptions. Most likely they'll be in that 7-8 play-in game, and unless the Raptors do something unfathomable against the Nets, there'll be Sixers in Orlando in that play-in game. Right,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
a toss-up in itself. So we're sitting here with the from that standpoint. I think I picked the Magic, my most disappointing team of the year last week, right? So struggle to pick them against the Sixers. So even if the Sixers were to win, they're up against the Boston Celtics. Sixers are going home in the first round, and that's unfortunate because if this team was healthy, I could see them causing a little friction, right? But you're not gonna get a first round of health out of Joel Embiid all 7 games, definitively. Paul George has been a shell of himself, and so I just don't see it with them, and it's unfortunate because they're kind of locked into this, not just this year, but for the next 2 years, because
Mm-hmm.
Joel's getting every dollar of those last 3 years on his deal. Paul George as well, because Joel may not play after this. Paul George isn't getting a contract like this again. So
Oh,
uh,
ever. This is it for
ever.
him.
This is his last big money deal. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate what's happening in Philly, despite the bright spot, which is Maxey and Edgecombe.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy though? I know we're on Philly, but with this matchup, this playing matchup, like you said, if Toronto doesn't lay an egg against the Nets, um, we could very much see a scenario where these teams who we thought were going to be what fourth or fifth in the East may not even be in the playoffs. Like there's a scenario where they lose twice and could very much not make the playoffs, which is wild.
I'm gonna pull a Charles Barkley right here. Okay, check with me next week. I guarantee you, one of those two teams is going home. Won't be in the
Wow.
playoffs
Okay, you
between the
heard it here
Sixers and the
first.
Magic. One of them's going home.
Both of them ain't gonna make it.
Both of them ain't gonna make it.
Okay, so now you're saying either Charlotte or the Heat are gonna make it, and I'm thinking you're saying Charlotte. So are you saying the Heat are going home? Let's talk about it. So Bam, how many points did he score, Christian? Do you remember? Do you remember? No. Okay, Christian
Think
deserved
it
it.
was 7. Has Bam scored 83 points
You don't need
total
to, you
since
don't need
he
to hear
scored
from me.
83 points?
He will tell everyone the most chances he can get. Every chance he can get, he'll let you know.
Christian, do me a favor. Add up how many points Bam has scored in total since he scored 83 points in the game.
Probably 83 or something like that. He's a bum.
I'm curious. But hey, don't tell can't take anything away from him. That was a fun night. I'll give back to that. So that's kind of touching on the Heat for a second. It's hard to ever count them out. I mean, they're one of the most decorated play-in teams in the
I was about to
history
say
of
they're playing
play-in.
poppies,
So
as Lou likes to call them. They're
right.
playing poppies. They've been in the playing like since it's
If anybody's uncomfortable in these win or go home situations, it's the Miami
right.
Heat. So we'll see. We'll see.
That's crazy. Okay, cool. Got you. All right, y'all. Let's continue to climb up these standings. Let's talk about these Atlanta Hawks, man. Your Knicks took care of business down here in the A, barring
You're welcome.
CJ's McCollum's just 0.1 seconds sooner release of the shot. It was a great game, man. It was a
We had a
great
slow
game.
release, not our fault.
That's not your fault. He took an extra pump fake roll. It has nothing to do with you.
It's good defense.
It's good. I'm done with y'all. These Atlanta Hawks, they have secured themselves in playoff positions, which means they're not a play-in team. I didn't have this on my bingo card at all. I definitely thought Atlanta was going to be fighting for its life, but that was what constructed with Trae Young. They've since traded him. Jalen Johnson has emerged to be a solidified, bona fide one option for that team. 20 points per night type of guy. Nikhil Alexander, this dude has been balling. They got the resurging Kuminga who sat out, so he's fresh legs there. They're looking good. Veteran with CJ McCollum, former Blazer. They're looking really good. And as I stated last week, I think I'm a Hawks fan, man. I'm a Hawks fan. I'm rooting for these Hawks that are underdog. I love how they play. They play hard. I'm excited. I think they're going to push. Who do they play? So as presently
Cleveland 4-5.
Cleveland, yeah, 4-5 is locked, honestly. So I think they're pushing Cleveland to 7. And I see Cleveland edging out just because of the star power. As good as they are, I hate to stay on this too long and give you the mic, Ev, but I don't think they have a closer. They don't have that guy yet. They're still young.
So it's funny that you say that and frame it in that way. I pick on Trae Young a lot, but part of my angst for him grew out of what he did to my team. So I'll take you back to 2021. Eliminates my Knicks and then eliminates my Sixers. And the Trae Young aura was born that year. Why do I take you back to that? Because I look at Jalen Johnson as a player who has an opportunity to arrive in that way in these playoffs. This 4-5 matchup is ripe for Jalen Johnson to take that next step, give you a 30 average, a 30-point almost triple double in a series, outplay a player who has not taken that leap in Evan Mobley, a Hawks team that can run a Jared Allen off the court as has happened before in playoff series, and put themselves in prime position to be gifted by a James Harden being James Harden in the playoffs. I'm as fascinated about this 4-5 Hawks Cleveland matchup as probably any matchup that we're going to see, because as well as the Hawks have been playing with a star who may have the ability to transcend to that next level, this could be the coming out party for Jalen Johnson, who we thought has already come out this season. But this
Right.
is where you put yourself really on the map and say, I'm a superstar in this league. I put this solid team on my back, and we shook the world in round one.
I 100% agree and echo that. I think the playoffs is where stars are born and made, and this is his opportunity to show us where he's at in that progression. Is he there, or will we say close but not quite there yet? It's interesting to see. I still think they're a solid team and going to be a tough out, no matter who they played. Honestly, you can go up and down the East. I think no matter who they play, the Hawks are going to be a tough out. They're not going to be a team you just run over. So cool. With that, go ahead. What are you saying?
Well, I was just gonna say, just to stay on Cleveland just for a second, right? This
Yeah, that's where I
was
was going. Go ahead.
this. Hey man, we like minded here.
Listen, man.
This was supposed to be the year that Cleveland shed all that baggage from the previous years, right? I mean, they got punked by the Pacers last year. They got outclassed and overmatched by the Celtics the year before that. And they got punked by the Knicks the year before that, right? So this year was supposed to be different. And especially once they made the Harden trade, it was like, okay, now we're supposed to have something here, right? I think, especially given they didn't accomplish what we thought they would at the beginning of the season. Again, this was predicted to be a top two team in the East. They didn't give us that, but at least they were supposed to walk into these playoffs and at least give you something in round one. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to. They may show up and they may stomp the Hawks, but they're in a situation where a team that they should beat could very well beat them.
Beat them, yeah.
Right.
Isn't that Cleveland-esque though?
That's my point.
Minus LeBron era, isn't that such a
Right.
Cleveland way to be?
Right. So if this happens to them 4 years in a row, that's the end of this team as we know it.
Yeah. You know what scares me about Cleveland? Because I'm a Donovan Mitchell fan, so I'm rooting for them. I actually want him to make it to the promised land. But I think they waited too late to get rid of Garland, to shed that weight, as you call it. I think had they done it earlier, they would have been more beneficial for them. Granted, this year they have suffered a lot more injuries than last year. I think it was last year where they were number one. They were really out there on their stride, but they suffered a lot of injuries this year. So they've been teetering up and down the standings, all the way down to 8 at one point, getting back up, or 6. I'm sorry, at one point going back up. But I am concerned because you hit the nail on the head. Cleveland being Cleveland, post LeBron, they could very much flame out in the first round. And then my question is, when do we start pointing the finger at Donovan?
Oh, listen, I'll tell you when we start pointing the finger at Donovan, when we start pointing those Mikal Bridges and 2 picks for Donovan trade proposals out there. That's when we start pointing the finger at Donovan, okay?
Here you go.
My bad. Too soon?
Here
Too
you
soon?
go.
Sorry.
Get your Knicks propaganda.
Listen, man, that's where you wanted to be to start. Should have went there from the jump, but
That's got it. All right, guys. Any last thoughts on the East before we move on? I think we're pretty pretty much covered here. Pretty much
Uh,
covered.
well, happy to see Jason Tatum back in the playoffs after what happened to him last year. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do.
And I hate to say it, but Celtics might be scary. Not might be. I think they're scary. Um, yeah, I'll leave it there. We'll talk about it more. All right. Let's move on to the West Side, West Coast matchups. So, oh, okay. As we talked about with the 65 game rule, right? We have a couple of interesting matchups and they may decide who's going to be where. We do know that basically what's solid in the West is really the top and the bottom are really kind of solidified as compared to the East, where these last games really are volatile. The West is not as volatile. We have um, OKC is basically there. Spurs are there, number two. And then Golden State is really locked into the 10th spot. So you have jockeying for position between Portland and the Clippers. And then you're going to have jockeying for position with the 3 and 4 seed, essentially. So let's start with the 3 and 4 seed. So you have Denver and you have the Lakers, right? So Denver is actually set to play the Spurs for the last game of the season. And we were talking about, do we think the Spurs are going to sit Wemby? Are the Nuggets going to sit Joker? Since we've established that Wemby has made his 65 game quota, checked his box, some are saying that, you know what, he may seat it out. If you're the Spurs, do you sit out Wemby, especially with this injury that he got a couple games ago playing the 76ers?
I think the Spurs are a bunch of dogs, a bunch of YN madmen. Um, I think they've spent this entire season proving a point. 62 games. I don't care how good you thought the Spurs were going to be this year. I don't know who had them picked as 60 game winners. I think they love nothing better than Wemby or not to slap the Nuggets in the mouth and make them sweat out what seed they're going to be. I don't think the Spurs even care what seed the Nuggets are. They just want to ruin their day. That's it.
Oh man.
Um, I think last year or the year before, the Nuggets had a chance to beat the Spurs the last game of the
Hmm.
season to lock up either the 1 or the 2 seed, and they dropped that game.
They dropped it. Yep.
I think the Spurs want to do that to them on purpose this year to just continue making their point. Like, we're here, we're on everybody's neck, including OKC, and we're not giving anybody a day off. I think they're young enough and feisty enough that that's the point that they want to make.
Let me ask you this question while we're on the Spurs. Do you see them actually winning this championship?
No, because they play the Knicks. We already beat them in the NBA Cup, so they don't want to see us again. That is
We're
not
not
the
talking
question
about
you're
the
asking
Gary.
me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Uh it's tough for me. Only because do I see them winning 4 series? I struggle with that in part because I don't know if De'Aaron Fox will close for them the way they will need him to close for them in series of this playoffs because they haven't been using him in that way. He has, because he's gotten comfortable with being more off the ball, with sharing a lot more of the load. I think he's the next factor that may or may not step up as much as they will need him to in this playoffs. But I could be wrong. It could be just it could be just a case of I haven't seen them do it before. But to what I just said, they've been doing it all season, and I didn't see them doing this. So they got to show it to me first.
Okay. I think they're just dumb enough to do it in the sense of they don't know any better. they, to your point, they're dogs. They're hoopers. They want to go and win. They don't care who's in front of them, what your pedigree is, who you think you are. Between these lines, we're ballers. Let's get through it. I think they're bold and brazen enough to get there. I really do. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see history being made with them, man. I see them going, I could see them going all the way and being foolish enough to think like we should be here. What are you talking about? We knew this, you guys just did it. When you think about Stefan Castle, his leap, when you think about what Wemby's doing, Dylan Harper, you really could see them doing it. And I'm actually going the other way with you on Fox. I think Fox is going to show out in this playoff because one, he needs to remind people of who he is, right? Two, he doesn't have the weight on the team on his shoulders like previously with Sacramento. So it's not on him to do everything. The possession slowed down. The ball, I think, will find him. You know that whole saying, the energy, the ball finds the
Hmm.
energy, that whole
Yep.
kind of saying. I really think it'll be his time to sign, similar to what you were saying with Jalen, right? With the Hawks, that this is an opportunity for him to step up. Let's not forget, Fox has won Clutch Player of the Year before. So those high intensity moments, he doesn't shy away from it. He's actually been shown to step up. I think that's actually why they would be foolish enough to do it. So I'm gonna be real. I think they're contenders, man, and I think they have a high chance of going all the way. They don't care who's there.
If they go all the way, it means that right now we're to the left of the trajectory that does make Wemby as great as his ceiling could be, right? So what I mean by that, like from a narrative standpoint, it's one of those things where becoming the dominant two-way force that wins the championship in his third season.
Hmm.
Once he does it, it's like, wow, okay. That makes sense when you look at the story of what he becomes like 5, 10 years from now, right? But on the left of it, you're like, is he that good? Is he that transformative that he can do that? Right. And so that's just a big question right now. Now, to your point, they've checked so many boxes this year that if we're standing here in June talking about the Spurs winning a championship, we'll look back and we'll be like, hey, it all made sense because they did it from day one of the NBA season.
It puts him in Shaq territory because
Tim
what
Duncan
Shaq
territory.
Tim Duncan territory as well too. Thank you for bringing that up. I was thinking like what big men made it early, right? Made it to the
Mhm.
finals early in their career. That's to me, it's he's reaching his potential, like you said. He's sticking to the script. He's something we've never seen before. He's the next transformational, generational talent, whatever cliche term you want to put on it.
Mhm.
I can see it, brother. I can see it.
We might be listen, definitively we'll be tuned in watching because I mean he's must see TV, and the fact that the team is played so well, right? The team now is must see TV. So I mean we'll be glued into to every round to see if they can pull it off. And I mean when you've dominated everybody and particularly dominated the team that's on top of you, right? If we're talking the Thunder Spurs conference finals matchup, I mean, how exciting is that based on what they've done to the Thunder all year, right? So I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. I mean, it's hard to pick a team that you have doubts against, right? It'll come down to matchups, but yeah, I mean, they've been excellent all year. It's just one of those things, they're young. They got to prove themselves first. Can you
They
prove yourself enough in the regular season, or do you have to get hit in the mouth in the playoffs to prove yourself? We'll see.
Got you. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit on this West Coast real quick, Ev. So if you look at the standings right now, present team that we're discussing aside, who do you see as being a dark horse in this first round? What team do you see right now constructed? And we're recording a little later, so this may change. But what team right now do you see in the West making noise in the first round that nobody's really thinking would. That's going under the radar. So who's your dark horse in the first round on the West right now?
I say, although that's a tough one for me, I do think I'm fascinated by where Houston lands.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
they're healthy. They do still have Kevin Durant. I think he's played the most games he's played like in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Um,
This is a
right.
healthy Durant we've had this season.
Right, right. So I mean, out of all the teams, if you look at it, I mean, I could have picked Denver, but they wouldn't be a dark horse to me, right?
Yeah, no, I don't
L,
think they are.
right, LA as injured as they are, Minnesota just haven't seen it from them, and respect to your Blazers, all respect for them getting here, 41 or 42 game winners, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see anything from any of these play-in teams, right?
Unless Dame comes
So,
back, don't do that though. He might. No, just talking.
hey, we could listen. That you want to sell some tickets?
Oh,
That'll do it. That'll
could you
do it.
imagine, man? Dame suits up. He's like, you know what, man, I'm playing.
All right. I'm gonna finish my
Yeah, my
my
bad.
Houston
All right, my
take.
bad.
No,
See,
no,
you
no,
said
because I
Blazers,
got
man.
a
You had me
question for
going.
you. I got a
Yeah, go
question
ahead.
for you
Go
about
ahead.
that. But yes, Houston's the team that I would pick. They've been in what you're gonna help me out. I'm gonna butcher this here. You got
Hmm.
your storming, your forming, your norming, and then you're performing. Right? Those are your four stages. Right? Hans is looking at me like I don't know what you're talking about.
At all.
Organizational stuff. Don't worry about it. What I'm saying is they've been figuring it out all year is what I'm getting at, right? Trying to find that right mix, that right gumbo. Um, are they at a point where they could put it together with the right lineups in the playoffs? I'll be fascinated to see if they hit the right mix and the mix clicks. I think Houston will be a tough out for whatever team they play, and depending on how the first round matchup lands, we could see them in the second round. And if you get to the second round, you're either the Spurs or the Thunder. Go have some fun.
Yeah, solid. I'm happy to see Kevin Durant healthy and playing at a high level. I feel like the league is more entertaining when he's playing at a high level because he's so boisterous. I don't know if you saw on social media him and Dylan Brooks going at it and basically
Hmm.
saying my worst season is your best season and then
I
making
saw
him
that.
fall and
I saw that.
so it's great, man. When the bad guy, as he likes to play, because he loves it. He's embracing it now. When he's out there as the bad guy, as the Slim Reaper, I love it. So, what was your Portland Blazers question, though? Let's get to what's important here, Av.
All right,
Let's
I'm
get
gonna
to what's
ask it.
important.
Let me say one more thing though. If we need the West to hold as it is right now, because don't get mad at me, Palm Mamba. The Lakers without Luca and Austin Reeves. Let's just get them out of there. Houston winning that 4-5 matchup. Denver putting out Minnesota in that 3-6 matchup.
Mhm.
We need Denver, Spurs, and OKC, Houston in round
That'd be
two.
fire. That'd
That
be
would be fire.
fire.
That
Hey,
would be
let's make it
fire.
happen, man.
All
That'd be
right.
fire.
To my Portland question. If you're Dame Lillard, why aren't you not suiting up this week?
If I'm Dame Lillard, I'm not suiting up this week because next season matters more. And if we want to be realistic, him coming back, it's not going to it's not going to get them over the hump like you think they are. Shaden just got back after being gone since February, right? Then he's been trying to hold it down, but he's just coming back from injury when your Knicks hurt his back, right? So if
Carrying
I'm
that
Dame,
team hurt his back.
carrying the team, is that what I said? Nah, if I'm Dame, man, as tempting as it is, very much so tempting because you showed out in the All Star. What much better than to be coming out, like a superhero and doing that? I think you have to think about next season and your chances. You want to start it off right. Let's start it anew. So that's why I wouldn't do it. As much as I would love to see it, just so we could get a sneak peek and to let people know he still has it. All the Dame haters out there, let people know he's still here. But I think, man, you don't risk it. There's a reason you're not coming back. There's a reason we're not seeing. Yeah, he's playing 5-on-5. Yes, Tatum did it. Right, he's back. Who else came back from the Achilles? Some other player too. From was it Murray? Javante Murray?
Oh yes, DeJounte
He came.
Murray
DeJounte.
in New
Sorry, I
Orleans.
messed up his name.
Mhm.
He came back, right, from Achilles. But we see Halliburton. He's not back yet. Right? So everybody, but he's playing 5-on-5 now. But you're right. The Pacers want to lose, right? So would they bring Halliburton back? I get what you're saying there. But yeah, no, if you're Portland, if you're Dame, man, chill out, relax, don't do it. Let's get next year, man. Let's get next year. Start off right.
April 27th, 2025 is when Dame Lillard went down. The play-in game will be 51 weeks since he got hurt. That's
Almost
11
a year.
months and 3. Okay, we're right at a year. Portland is going nowhere in this playoffs. Okay,
So you say.
this season has been all about good vibes, overachieving, happy to be there. It's a good news story already locked up, solidified. There's nothing that can happen that would make this a bad news story. So
Him getting
why not
injured?
put the cherry on top? Dame Lillard play 20 minutes in this game. A rusty Dame Lillard would be exciting in the play-in.
Listen, I'm for it. I'm
Just do
for
it.
it. How about he comes in, gets him past the play-in, and then sits the playoffs?
I
That'd
wouldn't
be
even be
great.
mad at that. I wouldn't even be
I'm
mad
for
at
it.
that.
Hey, yo.
I'm not gonna let you guys sit here with less than 5 minutes left of the pod and not talk about the Lakers, man. I'm not gonna let you talk. I'm not gonna let you be the Kendrick Perkins of this podcast. All right,
Or the Charles Barkley.
or the Charles Barkley. I ain't gonna let it happen. I'm tired of it.
Well,
Why are we talking about a playing team right now?
okay,
Whoa.
we'll do it. We'll do it for you. We'll do it for you, Pop Mamba.
I bet we beat the Lakers if we were facing
I
them.
bet you
How about
don't.
that? Oh,
No.
100%.
Oh, 100% you wouldn't.
100%. We beat you before. What are you talking about?
Ooh.
What are you talking about?
When did you guys
Don't
beat us
do
in the
that.
playoffs?
I'm talking about
Oh,
right
the
now
regular
as you're
season.
presently
Oh,
constructed.
okay, my bad.
As you're presently constructed, we could beat you. Fight
Okay.
me.
All
We
right.
could beat you.
So
What, you want that
being the
old geezer?
Rockets. We being the Rockets. We being the Timberwolves. So what do you mean? Well, how are you gonna say that the
beating the
Lakers don't
Rockets?
have a chance in the first round? All the Lakers have to do is get past the first round. They'll get Luka and Austin back.
Okay. Okay. No, fair. Let's do this. All right. 5 minutes left in the show, as you said. Let's give the Lakers
Less
their
than 5 minutes.
due.
More like it's more like
What are y'all gonna do in the first round with no Luka and no Austin Reeves?
I
Floor is
believe
yours.
in DeAndre Ayton.
Ooh, that's who you're betting on, huh?
I'm gonna have to bet on him.
Man.
No,
Hey,
for real.
you
No,
think
okay,
they're
for
gonna-
real. I'm
think they're gonna go to
betting on.
Cabo,
I'm betting on.
or-
Obviously, LeBron has to take the first option. He has to. Luke Kennard has brought his game to another level that I've never seen before.
Luke
Jesus.
Kennard is playing at levels you've never seen before.
Have you
You
seen
think you
him
got
get
Knipple
triple doubles
over there?
before? You see him get
You,
10 plus assists?
who are you playing? Who are you playing?
That's the question. I don't know.
No. When he got the triple double, who are you playing?
Oh, I mean, that doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. You see that? You see how he's burying the lead, right? You see how he's burying the lead, right? Come on, man. I give you guys 2 games at most, tops.
Against
games.
who?
Any, whether it be the Timberwolves or whether it be the Rockets, you're winning 2 games at the most.
Come on, man.
How much you want to put on it, man? Let's put it.
I
Let's
think
put it on wax. man.
Marcus Smart, being the leader that he is,
Oh my god.
and his defensive ability will help this team out. I believe in Rui's 3-point shooting capabilities. DeAndre Ayton was a first round overall pick. Let's not forget.
He was.
He was. So was Markel Fultz.
So
Now, listen here.
I think
Ben
after
Simmons.
after every 30 first round picks, you get a Markelle Fultz every now and then. All right, you get a Greg Oden.
Oh, relax.
Hey, you
Relax,
wanted to
man.
go there.
Relax, man.
Who's to
Relax.
say we can't beat the Timberwolves or the Rockets in the first round?
I think you have a better shot with the Timberwolves, though.
I was gonna ask, who would you rather play?
I would rather play the Timberwolves personally. I just don't know who guards Kevin Durant, especially with JJ. I don't know if he just doesn't like Vando or what, because I feel like
think it's
Vando
pretty
is
clear.
probably our best bet to guard Kevin Durant, but I don't even know if he even get playing time.
Bro, he got mad when he got benched. Ooh, I don't know what's going
Wouldn't
on.
you? How you gonna go in and play, and then one time down the floor you get pulled?
I know, it's wild.
Vando's been on the bench for 2.5 years. What was his argument?
We
have nobody.
We don't know.
You mentioned me for
Well,
nobody.
he was injured during Darvin Ham's tenure, but with JJ, a lot of Laker Nation doesn't know. We know his offensive incapabilities, but his defensive prowess is just overmatches it to a degree that you just can't not play him.
Yeah, it's interesting what you guys are gonna do, but I would love to see you guys go against Minnesota, just because I can see Minnesota being suckered into a clash of the Titan, LeBron versus Anthony kind of style of play, right? So I could see that, and that'd work in your favor. Slows down the offense, you could contain them,
And
maybe squeak
DeAndre
out.
just cancels out Rudy, man. It's just, I don't know why. He just does. He's the Rudy stopper.
Everybody's the Rudy stopper.
That's not true.
All
I
right.
saw Jackson Hayes get bullied last year, all right?
All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, please check us out on the social medias. Hit us up. Let us know what you think about the show. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, share, do all the things. We'll see you guys next week. Get better, Lou. Peace.
What's up, guys, and thanks for listening. I want you to do 2 things for me right now. 1, give this episode a thumbs up, and 2, be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on all the socials at the 3on3 Podcast, and send us an email at the 3on3podcast@gmail.com. We appreciate you, and tune in next week.